Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What's up, Cavs fans? How we doing? Welcome to a very special edition of the Block the Shot to Stop. I'm Tim Daniel, joined by Skylar Webker. And Skylar, we have an awesome guest today that I'm very excited to have on. When I was figuring out our show and putting it together, and I was kind of learning the lays of the land, no pun intended, this was the show that kind of was my piggyback show. This is one I went to all the time and got a good feel for the Cavs media and Cavs Nation through these guys. So you can check him out on the Chase Down Block, part of the Cavaliers media family. This is Justin Rowan. Justin, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Fellas, thank you so much for having me. Coming off, DeAndre Hunters' debut, it's a fun time to be a Cavs fan. We're going to be shortchanged. We won't have Cavs games for a while after this one against Toronto, but a little bit of a break's okay. And at least a lot of them are going to be participating in All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we're going to get to All-Star Weekend for sure, because I got to get your thoughts on the competitions there as well. But for those who didn't catch your show yesterday, you kind of did a deep dive post game after the Minnesota. I don't know if you want to call that a game, but there were 10 basketball players on the court at the same time, according to the box score. One team just looked significantly better than the other. And you got to see DeAndre Hunters' debut. Obviously, Max Strus was a late scratch, and he kind of steps into the starting role in his first spot. But I know you talked about it a little bit on your guys' show, so you don't have to go too deep if you're already tired of discussing it, but just curious your thoughts overall, what you saw from Hunter for our audience to kind of pick that up.
Hey, well, if you've listened to the show, you know that I willingly repeat myself time and time and time again. I thought it was really encouraging. I've been of the belief that at least when we discussed a theoretical pairing of DeAndre Hunter and the Cavs, I felt like that was probably going to be their best five. Whether or not Kenny Atkinson went to it as the starting lineup doesn't have as much, bearing on me. I think who closes is so much more important. When you look at how the Hawks deployed DeAndre Hunter, keeping his minutes in a range that kept things manageable, that's kept him healthy, that's kept him effective, I thought maybe that is a potential direction that the Cavs may go. But I really liked what I saw. I really liked, especially those opening minutes, just seeing the length of DeAndre Hunter paired with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I think we've had a really good job of bringing guys in, having them commit to the system defensively and playing in position defensively. But we don't have a lot of guys with the length that makes opponents change their decision on whether or not they're going to get that shot up. And DeAndre Hunter is absolutely one of those guys. So I'm excited for what this can mean for them for the rest of the season. And honestly, the next few years, because he's under contract for the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's something that Kevin and I talked about after last night's game too. Is he's making about the same money as Max Strus, and I don't really care if you start him, but what he brings to the Cavs is how you finish a game. You can still have lengthy defense out there in close games without sacrificing any scoring or shooting opportunities that he provides to you. So I think the Cavs brought Hunter in to kind of be that guy in close games and close series and playoff series to help close out alongside kind of the core four.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I like the positional versatility with him as well. I think when you look at him defending down to Aaron Edwards, I don't know if he would do it. If the team was fully healthy, I don't know if he would do it as frequently as he did in that game, particularly in those one big lineups. I think he'd be playing maybe a little bit more four, or maybe Dean Wade's going to be playing the four in those spots. And you would have a Max Strus or an Isaac Okoro who's done a good job on him in the past, playing as the primary defender. And then all of a sudden, in this switch-heavy Cavs defense, Ant's getting a screen and boom, you get hit with DeAndre Hunter. Boom, you get hit with Evan Mobley or Jared Allen. That is... I think that's what makes it so appealing, rather than thinking of him as kind of the traditional stopper where you have to really, we're committing to him on the opponent's best player for 48 minutes here, and let's fight through all these screens and whatnot. The Cavs are comfortable conceding those screens, and I just feel like Hunter gives them less vulnerable points within their defense for the opposition to attack.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing that's nice too is like you mentioned, so obviously not fully healthy, and just having that flexibility when Isaac Okoro comes back, where if you do need to play small, especially if you go in the playoffs and you play like in Indiana, like that's going to be a team that you can really kind of. They like to throw a lot of creative lineups out, like Rick Carlisle's offense, and the Cavs now can really combat that with a lot of their defense as well, bringing him in. And obviously, I think we're talking about all this defensive stuff. He's had his best shooting year of his career so far, and now he's coming to Cleveland. And so, my two quick questions on Hunter before we move on, Justin, are one: are the Cavaliers doing our own version of Villanova with this acquisition that the Knicks are doing? And two, how much do you think he's going to really enjoy playing with Darius and Donovan, who are excellent playmakers and just have that catch and shoot ability?
I don't know if we're going that far, but it does seem like from a personality standpoint, he's a fit with this roster, right? We joke that they're a bunch of nice young men on this team, and I think he falls more into that kind of quiet persona rather than some of our larger personalities that we've had. Tristan Thompson, Max Strus certainly is not shy to share some words. So I think he fits in from that kind of standpoint. And I do think, having Donovan and Darius is going to make his life a whole lot easier. I think Darius is one of the most talented playmakers in the league. And not that Trae Young isn't. I do think that, in the frustration with how Trae Young plays basketball, sometimes his elite playmaking gets lost. But there are a lot of times where you're kind of slotted into that role as play finisher. And all right, you're just going to kind of stand around and, if you're not getting an assist opportunity for Trae Young, you might not be touching the basketball. And I think within a Kenny Atkinson offense, playing with guards that can get both on and off the ball, that he's going to be able to screen for big men that you can run. Like, I don't think he's played with a center that can run a pick and roll with them. Evan Mobley might be the pick and roll ball handler with DeAndre Hunter as the screener. Like, I just think that there's going to be more variety in what he's asked to do in some ways. And then in other ways, it's going to be simplified because there's going to be more structural integrity to the defense. Darius and Donovan are probably the weakest links in the defense, and both of them compete hard on that end. Both of them are sound positional defenders. So when you have the backup, enforcers of the two big men, DeAndre Hunter is kind of in this ideal role from a role standpoint, where I just think this context is going to help his game, even if it doesn't show up necessarily in a per game points per game increase. I do think it's going to accentuate what he does well really nicely.
So you don't think that that Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter are telling Kobe Altman they got to go get Mafiondu Kabengele back? Like that's not a conversation right now?
I don't know if Ty has that much clout, but he's obviously built quite a bit here. I mean, now that we're acquiring his buddies, this is a big step.
Yeah. I guess we'll stick there actually, because I think one of the great things about this Cavs team is obviously their depth and how great the bench has been throughout the year. And he's kind of been the spark. I know when Karras was here, Karras had a lot of really nice moments, but like Ty's been really the most consistent. As not only that third ball handler, that third playmaker, but of late, one of the things we've been pointing out quite a bit, and I think you guys have too, is just the willingness to attack the paint and just find like his floater a little more and attack the backboard a little more. What have you kind of been your biggest takeaway throughout the season for Ty Jerome? Obviously last year didn't have him for all of 22 minutes on the court, and then this year really kind of been a guy you can make an argument for a 6-man of the year candidate.
Yeah, I think what surprises me the most, and when we were coming into this season, I think this is the best way to kind of capture my surprise. I talked about how we kind of had to ride the ups and downs of Karras as that backup ball handler, right? Like you're going to have some volatility there. You're going to have these incredible scoring outputs and really good playmaking stretches. And then you're going to have stretches where it kind of goes just a little bit sideways. And what I said about Ty Jerome is it's really nice to have someone that just takes care of the basketball. He's had a great assist to turnover ratio his whole career. He's an an efficient, mature ball handler, and he's just going to give you less volatility there. So I said, maybe Kenny Atkinson's going to be able to go to Ty on those nights where Karras is a little more volatile. I did not expect Ty Jerome to have those same kind of peaks. I thought we were talking about a higher floor with a lower ceiling when Ty Jerome was out there. I didn't expect him to come out with these massive scoring performances and to be as assertive as he has. And, I think I was a big fan of the signing before I knew he was capable of doing this. And when you look at what he has been doing since, I think it's helped give them the confidence to go out and sacrifice some ball handling in order to bring in DeAndre Hunter and address different needs, right? Sometimes you address those, internal or external needs with a trade. Sometimes other guys are going to step up and fill that void and create new possibilities for you. And I think what Ty Jerome has done, and to a lesser extent, Craig Porter Jr. in the opportunities that he's had, I think that made them more comfortable with potentially sacrificing some of that to go get Hunter.
And I think, I've talked about this like before, but I think the Cavs kind of viewed Ty Jerome and his contract coming into the season as, well, we'll see what we get. But if anything, he's a guy that we could shed and get under the luxury tax. Then he came in and kind of set the organization on fire, and he became indispensable here at this trade deadline. And like you said, made it okay to, give up a LeVert and Niang to kind of take a home run swing to get DeAndre Hunter. And I think another person that kind of made the Cavs feel okay and taking that swing is Jalen Tyson, kind of coming in and showing that he can contribute at an NBA level, kind of made him feel, okay, we can sacrifice a year of Georges Niang, basically.
Yeah.
2 months of Karis LeVert and a year of Georges Niang for DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, and I think, looking at what Jalen Tyson's kind of done for them so far, listening to what they said basically after drafting him was, hey, Jalen Tyson's kind of the successor to Karis LeVert. Like we kind of view him as someone that is going to be able to bring a little bit of that ball handling in. You look at what he did at Cal, he was basically, the sun, the moon, and the stars for that offense. He was out there doing everything. And what I find so interesting about kind of the Jalen Tyson career trajectory to this point is, you look at Texas Tech, he was strictly a 3-and-D player. Yeah. Then Cal needed him to be a more high volume playmaker and really run the offense in a very heliocentric way. For him to go, okay, like that's kind of what got me drafted, but I also have an understanding of what's going to get me opportunity on the Cavs. And it's going back to that, it's going back to the old me. I'm going to give you 3-and-D. I'm going to really attack the offensive glass and fill in a whole bunch of different ways. I don't know if they're necessarily counting on him as like the insurance of, hey, like if, Ty gets banged up, we have Tyson that can step up in that LeVert role. But I do think having another guy that you at least find interesting, that you find promising, that seems to be a fit on and off court, I do think that gave them some comfort and some flexibility, even if you're just talking about, hey, we're committing to another salary these next few years in DeAndre Hunter. Having a cheap first-round rookie deal on the books and potentially be part of the rotation, it's going to make that a little more feasible for us.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we've somehow done this show 13 minutes and without mentioning Garland, Mitchell, or Mobley for a lengthy conversation. That is a miracle.
Or Allen.
Yeah, or Allen for that matter. The guy who should have also been an all-star, but I guess they thought Trae Young was more valuable to that. Be that as it may. Seeing this core four come together with this group of guys, and obviously it's, the BL, I wouldn't say the BL end all for this Cavs team, but this is the game plan. These four guys are what's going to lead this team for the next few years. Seeing the way that they've really gotten along with Kenny Atkinson, really gotten behind him. From your perspective, just kind of curious, I'm sure you thought, hey, this team was going to be really good. And we talked about this with Spencer Davies recently, where, yeah, we all thought this team was going to be really good. We didn't think we were talking about 10 losses going into the All-Star break. For you, if you could kind of just analyze real quick, your biggest surprise that you didn't see coming with this team. Like I said, we all thought they were going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we all thought they're going to be as good as they are.
I think my biggest surprise is that all of the best case scenarios could hit at once without taking away from one another, right? Because I think a lot of the stuff that we identified prior to the season ended up coming to fruition, right? Like Darius Garland, I thought going into last year, I felt that he was ready to take that all NBA leap. And I think if he didn't get injured the way that he did, dealing with the hamstring and the shooting hand and then the jaw and everything that he went through. I think that, I felt like he was primed to make that leap. I didn't know if he could, one, get back to the level he was at before, two, take it a step beyond that and get back not only to where he was before, but establish himself as a potential all NBA player. I didn't know if all of that could happen without, maybe taking a little bit away from Evan Mobley. Like, there's only so many reps that can go around. And for Jared Allen to be as productive as he has, for Evan Mobley to take a step forward, and for there to be role for him to be more assertive, along with Donovan Mitchell still being fantastic and Darius taking that step forward, I just didn't think every single best case scenario could hit at the same time without taking away from one another. I felt it was possible when this team was built, but in a 1-year span to start the season with no hiccups, with no, growing pains with a new coach, like, I'm an optimist, man. Like I'm ridiculous. I came into this season before game 1 and was saying, hey, I feel like this is the first season that we have a legitimate chance to win a championship. And we're just going to be learning whether that's a 5% chance or much better. I didn't expect this, man. Like even my Homer self couldn't get all the way there. And I just think that, it's a testament to how much everybody is on the same page. And I think credit has to go to the players. I think credit has to go to the coach of all just getting on the same page and understanding what they do that elevates everybody else. And let's continue to push in that direction.
You and I are the same way. I was calling at the beginning of the season, wire to wire, baby. We are staying in first the whole time from game 1 to game 82.
I'm pretty optimistic, and I wasn't that high up. So, yeah. Do you see potentially, if your non-biased opinion, potentially adding a big in the buyout market now, or do you think they're going to kind of roll what they have and maybe rely a little bit more on Tristan Thompson and Jalen Tyson more than we anticipate?
Well, I mean, I'm cheating a little bit here because they technically do have to sign somebody. There are 13 roster spots right now. I'm not sure what the buyout market is going to kind of materialize. I saw Christian Wood just got waived before this. I don't know if that's someone that they would consider. There's always been a little bit of off-court noise there. So when you're dealing with a buyout guy, sometimes you have to kind of weigh that from a risk reward standpoint. But it'll be interesting to see who kind of gets bought out by that March 1st deadline, right? I think in the meantime, I would kind of expect them to do the responsible thing, which is unless there is a clear-cut buyout guy that, yes, we want this guy, we're going to make an offer to them, ride it out a little bit. Let's do the 10-day dance. Let's maybe Naquan Tomlin, you haven't been on a two-way this year, but we like what you've done for the Charge. We're going to reward you. Here's a little extra spending money for you. Here's a 10-day contract like they did last year with Pete Nance, who went, not being on a two-way to 10-day contracts. Doing something like that, or even potentially eventually promoting someone like Luke Travers, JT Thor, Amani Bates, whoever that might be to the roster. They can do some creative things to not only get to that 14 roster spot minimum, but I believe they can sign a buyout guy and after doing the 10-day dance for a little bit, promote someone with no NBA experience and still stay under that luxury tax and have 15 guys on the roster. So I think we're going to see that dance until the March 1st deadline. And then once they have all the information available to them on who actually is making up this buyout market, they'll probably make an informed decision at that point.
Yeah, that's how I kind of feel as well. All right, so let's talk All-Star Game, guys. We got our guys are participating in the festivities. I know we're going to do a little bit of a preview tomorrow, but Justin, obviously, the first thought is the last time the Cavaliers had a group in the skills competition was in Cleveland, and they won. I feel pretty good that Evan and Donovan will keep that going and keep the tradition alive. How about you?
I mean, when it comes to skills contest, yeah, we're sweeping everything that we're in. They're winning the skills contest. Darius is winning the 3-point shootout. I don't know if it's going to have the exact same charm magic that the one in Cleveland had. That was so much fun. That's my only time I've ever attended an All-Star weekend. And seeing those guys win it was so much fun. Seeing Scotty Barnes miss 9 layups in a row was so
Forgot
much
about
fun.
that.
It was just an amazing week. So I hope that the vibes are going to be just as good. And even Sunday we got I believe it's going to be Kenny Atkinson and Johnny Bryan coaching 2 of the teams. It'll be hopefully those teams do well. Hopefully those teams are the ones that have the Cavs. I haven't seen. I saw Kenny, Chuck, and all of them pick their teams.
Yeah.
I didn't see the coaches get assigned to that. So maybe that's just me.
What's the different format for the skills competition? Because this is a 2-man skills competition versus the year when it was in Cleveland, it was a 3-man
Yeah,
team.
it was Jarrett, Evan, and Darius that time. Yeah.
Who
No one
knows? I mean, every year it seems like there's a million new rules thrown in. I'm someone that views things when it doesn't come to like watching and analyzing Cavs games, whether it's TV shows, whether it's All-Star Weekend, whatever. I am not a critical person, man. I am happy to please. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, whatever you're throwing at me, I'm probably like, it's going to kill some time. It's going to distract me from the fact that it is freezing cold outside. That is kind of the space basketball occupies in my heart. And when I don't have the stakes of a Cavs matchup in that game, I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. So I'm going to find out what the rules are seconds before the competition begins. And I'm going to be like, hey, that's something. Let's see how it goes.
I'm bummed we didn't get to win the dunk contest. I do like the group, but I was like, man, if we could get I know Donovan won't do it again, obviously, so I'm not saying that, but it would have been cool to get one guy in the dunk contest.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the dunk contest is like the Olympics. If we get one good one every 4 years, I feel like it's a net positive. I'm okay with that. And when it sucks, let's be honest, the online community loves crapping on things more than they love enjoying it. So in a lot of ways, it is still fueling the machine here.
Yes.
I remember being like super upset at Donovan Mitchell winning that dunk contest because Larry Nance Jr. was a Cav at the time and was going up against him, and I was just being such a homer.
Hell yeah, brother!
He didn't deserve it.
Exact same boat. I was hating all over Mitchell.
Yeah.
But now, benefit of hindsight, yeah, Johnny deserved that.
Yeah,
totally deserved it.
Yeah. What a fun team, man. It's just so fun to kind of watch this team on a day-to-day basis. Kind of, want to bring it back to the conversation, the basketball conversation on court. So, and again, kind of figured off what we kind of had this conversation with Spencer Davies about, just kind of, not that the JB Bickerstaff group wasn't super analytical, but it seems like this Kenny Atkinson staff has really kind of gotten really deep into it, and that you can see the players really adapting to it. One thing I kind of mentioned was Donovan Mitchell, even though he's not, ever going to win a DPOI by any means, but how much more aggressive he's been defensively and how good he's really been at long rebounds and starting transitions that way. For you, I know obviously the biggest takeaway you can say, the easy answer is more wins in the comparison of coaching staffs, and obviously one's much more offensively led and one's defensively led, but big picture for you, where's the kind of the thing you see that jumps out the most as Kenny Atkinson's come in the door?
I think some of it, obviously to start the year, I got to give him a lot of credit with the approach, right? Like understanding that there is a foundation here. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's just kind of augment it and tweak it and build upon the foundation that was already there. I think sometimes when new coaches come into a situation, they want to put their stamp on it, right? And I think you see that even from ownership, right? Like new owner syndrome is absolutely a thing. It can make you do crazy things like trade Luka Doncic.
Right, Phoenix.
Man, that is absolutely a thing. So I really enjoyed that. And then the part that, I don't know how much credit or how much responsibility the coaching staff has for this compared to the last couple of years. But I kind of liked what we would run early in the year with JB. And then it was like, we just started running out of bodies, right? And things had to get simplified, and we weren't building upon the foundation we had laid earlier in the season. This year, it feels like the team is still, even after wins, they are problem solving. They are looking to add new wrinkles to the offense and defense. Listening to Ty Jerome postgame, he was talking about how they let their foot off the gas defensively, and it's a step in the right direction, but we want to do better. Like this team, the way they talk about success indicates to me that they're not happy with it, and or they're enjoying it. No one's going to deny that they're having fun, but they have their goals and their sights set higher than this. And I think they recognize the moment. I think This is a team that's been together long enough and gone through enough failings that they know what it takes, and there's that proper hunger, that proper maturity, and that's something that only really comes with time and experience. But I think that's one of the biggest shifts this season, and you know, maybe some of it does have to, go back to the coaching staff of, hey, their minutes are being managed. They're being really conservative with injuries, right? Like Chris Fedor had the report that Dean Wade's good to go. He could be playing right now. But because, All-Star weekend's coming up and we can give you an extra 10, 11 days off here and make sure that this isn't something that lingers, like that conservative approach and the way that they manage minutes, maybe that is a contributing factor for why they've managed to stay much healthier this season.
Yeah, we've said it the whole time that like the fact that there's only been, I think, one game where anybody's played over 35 minutes this year is impeccable. And think about all the teams that they've had to run through and still only had one game where anybody's played over 35 minutes. They've played LA twice. They've played the Warriors twice. They've now played the Wolves twice, Denver twice, Dallas twice now.
Boston 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, Boston 3 times. The Magic. I mean, all these teams, these playoff teams, the Knicks, the Thunder, like they've played all of the top caliber teams and have stayed fresh through it. And most of the times they're beating the brakes off those guys. But
and the impressive thing about that is a lot of those teams aren't taking the same approach, right? Like they're playing their guys 36, 38 minutes to try to beat the Cavs. And we're just kind of taking, the long-term approach. And it's really fun to watch because they're not chasing wins. Like they're not going all out and playing guys 40 minutes when a game seems like it's in the balance. So it's really trusting everybody to contribute, playing a deeper rotation. I've always been more in favor of like a 9-man, but Kenny likes going 10 and 11. Like he was fine playing Luke Travers and Amani Bates in the first half against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that's a team that's on a roll. That's a team that's a top 6 offense, or sorry, a top 6 defense, and had been playing really well offensively recently. Like that's a lot of confidence in what you're doing, and also just probably a lot of confidence in the ability of having at least 2 of the core 4 on the court at all times and what that does for your floor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Justin, this was awesome, man. I'm so happy we got to make this work. I know I had reached out to you back in the summer and we got to put this together. So I really, really appreciate it. Before we do get out of here, I'm sure every Cavs fan knows where to find you guys, but if there's for some gosh reason anyone doesn't, please make sure to give a shout out to the YouTube channel, your social medias, anything you possibly can. So the floor is all yours.
You never know, man. Like people, they come to Cavs fandom and they're podcasts in different ways. Really, really appreciate you guys for having me on. Wherever you found this podcast, you can find the Chase Down. You guys know where to find podcasts. Go find the Chase Down. We also go live twice a week on the Cavs YouTube channel, so like and subscribe there. I don't really tweet or skeet on Blue Sky much these days, but you can find me at Cavsnada on either of those sites. Just slap the Cavs in Canada and you'll find me there.
Yeah, and important to note that you guys were the Blue Wire Cavs podcast before us.
We were, we were. It was, I think we were the first 4 podcasts when Blue Wire first launched. Us and Light Years were the 2 basketball podcasts at the time, because Warriors and Cavs were good at that point. So that opened up some opportunities for us. That was pretty damn cool. But yeah, love Kevin. Blue Wire is a fantastic company. And, as much as we were really, really excited to join up with the Cavs and have that partnership, part of it hurt, man. We loved everyone at Blue Wire. They were so supportive of us when we made the transition. They were incredible when we did our City of Champions series as well. So always got love in my heart for everyone at Blue Wire.
Yeah, we also agree because they let us do this. So awesome. Justin,
Dad's talking Cavs.
Dad's talking Cavs. That's right. Justin,
yeah.
Anytime you want to hang out with us, man, the door is always open. So thank you so much.
As are my DMs, man. Reach out, let me know. I'm more than happy to come on.
Perfect. Absolutely. Well, guys, we will be back tomorrow after the Raptors game. Like what Justin said, please check out the Chase Down to making your Cavs rotation of podcasts along with us here at the Block the Shot to Stop. On behalf of Skylar Webker and Kevin Lynch, I'm Tim Daniel. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Go Cavs.
Thanks, fellas.